Welcome to BattleTech in the Morning with Captain Nips. I'm Captain Nips, and today we're going to go exploring. So yesterday's video, we were playing around with the swarm, and we discovered at the top of the hill left of our drop zone on Death Valley, we discovered a little bit of a city, a bit of a town with some actual buildings, not like the paper mache ones we find scattered throughout most of the maps. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take a Lance of Jenners. Gotta find him. Too far down the list. There we go. Lance of Jenners. Fast, mobile, good weapons, jump capable, which is important because we don't know necessarily whether we're going to be able to get up in on that city unless we jump to it. So we're going to do that. So there's our Lance. I'll swap out Kraken for Blockade. I'd like to get some extra jump in here. Extra jump distance. Buckshot. Let's see, where's the other? Oh, the other one is Showboat. Sure, why not? Let's throw Showboat in there. And then the other side, we're going to go with... I'm probably going to have to tinker this because what I want to do is take a Lance, there we go, Lance with jump jets so that in the off chance the enemy Lance gets stuck, they're able to find their way up onto the plateau with jump jets. Let's give them, no, can't give them a Panther, so let's give them, I guess I give them an Urban Mech. Urban Mech's got jump jets. Alright, so we can all jump, we can all move. Let's go exploring.
Commencing deployment. Mech warriors, prepare for combat.
Now yesterday in my video, when I went up and discovered that these buildings were not just background art, they were a little curious because they had heat scale and jump jets, and last I checked, buildings don't have either of those things. I mean, maybe in the far future of the 31st century they do.
Got it.
But that said, was not expecting to see that at the very least. So we're just going to make a beeline over to this wonderful city on the hill right here. And then we're going to poke around. We're going to play around with those buildings and see if there's anything we can learn from how they behave. Now, it is the beta, so for all we know, those might be paper tigers. They may not really exist. They may not break line of sight like a building. They may not be, physically instantiated like a building where you could stand on them. Who knows? That's why we're here. Our little exploration club wandering out to see how much is actually cooked in this part of the beta, in this far off corner of the beta. My curiosity is killing me because most of the buildings that we've come across in the beta so far are like these little ones right here where they will spontaneously combust if you so much as look at them and a mech gets nearby.
Commander?
Let's see. Nobody's gonna have jump range to that yet. We can, however, get a good ways up this hill. So let's get ourselves into position, and hopefully the next turn we'll be able to just
On the move.
clear the lip, clear the edge of this plateau with our jump jets. What do we got going on up here otherwise? So it's relatively flat. Ooh, we can also play with the out of bounds over here. Might do that. Oh! Someone looked wrong. Someone looked cross-eye at one of these buildings. Two of these buildings. Ooh, boy. Sorry. Local infrastructure. I apologize for that. Alright, so,
Standing by.
ladies and gentlemen, please take to the air where we can get up to these buildings. Ooh. Angel of Death. That's good jumping right there. Although everyone seems to have really good
Waiting for orders.
jump range with these Jenners. Alright, we're here.
I leap, I soar.
Can't fault her for her enthusiasm. And we are on the plateau. Welcome to the High City, the paradise on the hill. So, let's just take a look at how these buildings behave. So if we pick, let's pick somebody toward the front. Mockingbird, or Showboat. Here we go. So, it looks like the movement grid doesn't really do anything to adjust for the fact that there are buildings here. The movement grid looks pretty, it looks like a grid. Which means, looking at it, that there are places where the grid lines up with some buildings. And in some cases where those grid spots line up with the buildings, it looks like you could use a regular move to get on top of some of them. And there you go. I am standing on a building. Some would say I'm walking on sunshine. Not me. Alright, so what happens if we jump? Can we jump on top of these buildings? It looks like we can. So let's try this. We are on the roof. Alright, okay. So, step one. The buildings are solid enough that we can stand on them. So now the next trick is going to be, do they break line of sight? Do they cause interference? Oop, there we go.
Look at that.
I've got some enemies.
Someone wants to get dead.
Do they cause interference to lines of sight and weapon fire? How do they interact with that concept? So let's get our guys all hunkered down. Also, we've got some lighter terrain buildings surrounding these buildings. We'll reserve for now. Let the enemy come to us. What do we got? We've got some nice... Oop, there we go. Got some nice light civilian vehicles. Maybe light military vehicles. They are six-wheelers. We've got some semis. Some light office buildings. Make our way down. Looks like slabs of concrete. That's cool. Some more light vehicles. Ooh, and we've got like a cherry picker. Utility vehicle for working on the nearby power lines and cellular tower. Look at that. Look at all that technology. I'm impressed. As far as the buildings go, it looks like we've got kind of a large car park looking thing. Some, let's see what they call it. Large military building. Medium military building. Medium reinforced building. Large military. Medium military. Small military. Alright. Figured it would come along eventually. Some more small military buildings and another large one. Okay. So some of the small ones have been instantiated as an object, as a building object, unlike some of the other small ones, which have clearly not. Alright, let's get this going. Let's get this fight started, because I'm real curious. Alright, there's going to be one of our mediums. Let's get our roof stalkers down off their respective roofs. Want to draw the enemy in. Probably breaking some number of military conventions by picking a fight in an industrial zone like this. But hey, we have some science we need to take care of here, so there's nothing to be done for it. Sacrifices have to be made. And if those sacrifices are these buildings,
Aye, aye.
well,
Keeping my heat low.
that's just the cost we have to pay.
Waiting on you,
Showboat,
Commander.
please get down off that building.
No sweat.
Okay. Alright. Enemy Lance. Enemy Lance. Come get some, please. for whatever strange reason, they're choosing not to move up the ramp, and instead they're choosing to move into this kind of shallow gully.
Standing by.
Aye, aye. Got it.
Commander.
Should probably be repositioning
Good to
some of these mechs so that that line of sight breaking
I read
test
you,
is
Commander.
actually,
Moving out.
you know, that we're actually breaking the line of sight. That's fine. I have a sneaking suspicion that I have all the time in the world. Let's see. Move here, please.
Rolling.
Continue to brace.
Yep.
Alright, can we sneak in between the middle here somewhere? This is a dodgy spot to stand. Let's see what happens. Well, kind of clipping the building there. So, that does not inspire confidence vis-a-vis these buildings being actual solid objects.
Standing by.
But
That'll keep my heat down.
let's see what happens when the enemy actually gets to it. Come on, guys. You have jump jets. All you gotta do is just take that little hop. Or walk up that way. I mean, I don't know. Can you just walk up this little hill? Apparently you don't want to just walk up this little hill.
Standing by.
What do you need?
Yes, Commander. What can I do for ya?
Oh boy.
10-4.
Don't you hate it when you're trying to bait your enemy out and they just refuse to take the bait? Okay. So
Waiting for my opening.
it seems like the enemy AI that it's pathing may be
Commander?
stuck
10-4.
because they have all, minus their urban mech, which is probably still, you know,
Awaiting orders.
plodding along half a mile away.
Waiting for orders.
They have all, instead of choosing to walk up the road here, have instead chosen to walk around to this shallow gully, which looks like it has high banked walls that you can't simply walk up. And instead of choosing to bridge that gap, as it were, with their jump jets, they have walked up adjacent to the wall and gotten themselves not stuck. I'm guessing they're not stuck, but the AI certainly is not leveraging the full mobility of these mechs. Because I specifically gave them jump jet equipped mechs so that they could clear terrain in case something weird was going to happen. Well, something weird has happened. So, what are we going to do? I'm going to reserve. I'm going to reserve until the end of my turn. Here we go. Make sure they all get their move. And I'm going to send out a scout. Because I'm curious, is there something wrong with this roadway ramp? Showboat, no. Who's over here in the corner? Mockingbird.
Waiting for orders.
Mockingbird. Can you just please hustle? I want you to prove to me that you can actually path all the way down this roadway. No, let's go here. Alright, there's our urban mech. And it looks like the pathing is clear. I think you can move to that spot. Okay. Let's let the rest of these sit for now.
I'll do what I can.
Our little experiment with the buildings
Keeping it
is
cool.
turning
Good to
into
go.
a non-experiment at this rate.
Cooling.
So if... Alright, so we got the urban mech. He's going to turn the corner. Okay. I want to see if I can bait them up this ramp. Whiff. Whiffity whiff, whiff, whiff. I feel pretty safe, all things considered, because even if these mechs move, they're gonna best they can do is fling some indirect fire, and it's fine. Whatever, you're fine. Would have been nice to dodge some of that, but yeah. All right, so Mockingbird. We've proven you can run down the ramp. Can you run up the ramp? So I want you to move to here. Move to here. I want you to move to a spot where you can turn around. Please. Good enough. So let's move here.
Copy that, Commander.
And let's see if the enemy team is smart enough to actually follow up this road. This very clearly defined road. And we'll let the rest of the team continue to sit.
Managing heat.
The most exciting video I've ever done.
Waiting on you, Commander.
Well, the Urban-Mech's got the right idea.
Confirmed.
Question is, what about the rest of them?
Uh-huh.
Whole lot of nope. You guys are so close to figuring out you have jump jets. You're so close. I feel it. All right. Mockingbird.
Waiting for orders.
Let's... Here's what I want. I want you to have a line of sight to that urban mech. At least a superficial one. Can we sprint to here and actually get the full bonus for sprinting?
Acknowledged.
Yes. Okay. Urban mech. Hi. You brave little Irby.
What do you need?
Commander, keeping my heat low. Good for now. Cooling down a bit.
Alright, so. Is this captain of industry and combat going to actually... Yeah, alright, so. That's gonna hurt.
Maintain stability.
Well, you know, I kind of deserve that for baiting it out like that. Alright. Hey, Mock.
Reading you.
Stand up, please. How about...
Move orderly.
This looks like a bad move. This is an intentionally bad move. I'm trying to get this urban mech to actually come all the way up this ramp. And I'm afraid if I break line of sight, if I actually break line of sight, that it will freak out and run back down the ramp to join its buddies.
Yep. Confirmed.
It would be real nice if its buddies
That'll keep
figured
my heat
out
down.
that,
Got it.
I mean, they know I'm up here. I can see them on sensors, which means they can see me on sensors. They're flinging indirect fire when they've got line of sight. Yeah, still more indirect fire. Alright, alright. Our little test to use these buildings for cover is turning into a very drawn-out, very uninspiring match of watch them fling indirect missiles at me. Alright. She's still unsteady.
Yes, Commander.
I really don't don't want to break line of sight. I really want to just keep this. I wonder if I go to here, is that still close enough to want the Irby to entice the Irby to walk up this ramp?
Damn it, my mech is limping.
Yes, I'm aware, Mockingbird. Just stick to the plan. Come on, Urban Mech. Yay, our brave little Irby. I should kill you last out of respect for your actual, you know, half a brain that you're using. Alright, so if we reserve, it's just going to turn into, I'm guessing, yeah, this giant, silly, whatever they're doing over there. I think since the enemy lance is not bothering, this part of the enemy lance is not bothering to engage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bait the Irby up into here, best I can, and then play around with him a little bit, just see what kinds of lines of sights and whatnot we can generate and possibly break if these buildings actually work,
Venting heat.
and then mercilessly kill the Irby. It'll be an honorable kill. But then once that's done, I'm going to position just short of line of sight here,
I hear ya.
let them go, and then jump all over these guys and be real mean to them. Alright, come on, Herbs. There you go. There you go. Mockingbird.
I'm here.
Does this break line of sight?
Order acknowledged.
It breaks line of sight. This is good. Alright. We're learning things. The buildings do, in fact, break line of sight. Or is that the terrain breaking line of sight? Crud on a cracker. Alright, we haven't conclusively proved that yet. Keep reserving. I don't know that it really matters at this point. It does, however, matter. If I want to make sure I'm breaking line of sight,
Yep.
I should probably fidget my guys around a little bit. Go there. He's probably, well, if this comes up all the way here, there might be a line of sight through this corridor, so
Standing by.
Apex, if you could just take a step forward, please. That's cool. Hunker down. And in case it sweeps around the edge, we want to move
What can I do
Showboat
for ya?
around the corner here. So that this brave little urban mech. There we go. Okay, so where are there potential lines of sight?
Yes,
Who has
Commander.
lines of sight? Not you.
What do you need?
Not you.
Awaiting orders.
Not you.
Good to go.
So, no one... So this is weird. So no one technically has line of sight, because when I go to target, using the attack command, no one actually... None of my mechs can actually cause an attack.
Reading
So
you.
here's Mockingbird. Nothing.
Standing
There's
by.
Blockade, who looks... I mean, that kind of looks like a line of sight to me. But when I choose the attack button, let's move, attack. See, if I click on the urban mech, it's not actually getting there. Okay.
Aye, aye.
Apex is clearly behind a building. And
I hear
Showboat,
ya.
likewise, it looks like through the building in the middle here. Yep. So, I don't technically have a line of fire while I have a line of sight, which is an unusual situation to be in. So what can we do to test this out a little more? I think what we can do is we can have... Let's have Blockade move.
Yeah.
Blockade, I'm going to have you move right So, line of fire, line of fire, line of fire, line of fire, which looks like I'll be standing half in the building in this alley here. Line of fire. No line of fire.
On my way.
Okay, so that's what it was. Blockade over here had a line of sight to the urban mech, but it did not have a line of fire, which is very unusual for those two things to not be synchronized up. I've yet to see that in this game. Interesting little tidbit. Good to know. Let's go to ground. I kind of still want this Irby to move in and actually like interact meaningfully in the city here, so I'm just gonna reserve out, and then these guys are gonna figure. Nope, those guys are still not gonna figure it out. So we're just gonna reserve this out, and then we are going to
I'm here.
continue to hunker down.
Standing by. Waiting on you, Commander.
Okay. Alright, so what's the urban mech gonna do? Round the corner. Alright, so... Oh wow, that corner is short. This edge of the facility is significantly lower in terrain on the plateau here. I was gonna put a mech over here. I can still put a mech over there.
Reading you.
Not you though, you're missing a leg.
Awaiting orders.
Showboat, stand here please. I'm curious.
Don't need to tell me twice.
Alright, so we don't even have line of sight to it from there, because the urban mech is so damn short. Let's just reserve the rest. So, if it's smart, I think what it's going to do is it's going to come around the corner, see Blockade, and take a shot at him. Let's see what it does. Oh, it already moved this turn. Never mind.
I'm here.
Hunker down.
Affirmative.
We're conducting science, and sometimes science takes time.
Aye, aye.
Science takes patience.
Holding and cooling.
Sometimes you don't exactly
aye.
get the outcome you're looking for or expecting, but that's science. And the science of this battlefield is turning out to be very interesting. So, I'm gonna use, let's see, Blockade, I want you to actually move. I want you to at least turn and face your eventual killer, please. Let's go here. It's not exactly what I want, but
Position.
the problem I'm running into, because the movement grid does not overlap the footprint of this little chunk of city very well, having to kind of move my duders, move my mechs to wherever I can find a space sometimes. Alright, so, around the corner. Hey, rounded the corner. And he... Alright. Okay, so, we've got line of sight again. Do we have a line of fire? Apex.
Commander.
Do not have a line of fire. Where do we need to be? Actually, you know what? I want to start with the nearest mechs. So let's start with
Waiting
Showboat.
for orders.
So Showboat clearly kind of doesn't have a line of sight. I want to wait to the next turn. I want to see what Blockade's line of sight looks like when I start to move him, because I am guessing that he had... Ooh. She has line of... We have line of sight here. The Irby is spotting on Showboat. Okay, that's cool. Showboat's probably just going to eat a bunch of indirect missiles. Just keep reserving. What I want to see is I want to figure out, okay, which of these mechs has the line of sight.
Is that it?
I'm guessing it's Blockade, but it's interesting that he's spotting on Showboat.
Yes,
And then
Commander.
once I figured out who has a line of sight,
Keeping my heat low.
I want to try and understand where do I have to be in relation to this urban mech to generate a oh. Well, so much for that. I probably should have, you know. Alright, well, slight change in plans. He is now in the city on the edge of the city. Let's all pull back. let's continue this silly dance that we're doing. We've now officially baited the Urbamech up the ramp and around half the perimeter of this little city of ours.
Aye, aye.
So let's continue to bait him around corners. He's already moved this turn, so this is me just using up all of my actions to reposition my mechs. And showboat.
Commander?
Question is, where do I go? Where do I go to really, really suss out some breaks in the line of sight? If I go here, this actually might be a good spot. I want to be like right here in between all these three dots here. Well, beggars can't be choosers. All right, so go there.
Right, Commander.
So he's either going to come up around, or he comes over to here maybe. Meanwhile, the team doesn't know they have jump jets. Alright, so let's let the Urban go. Tell us something about this place, Urbamech. This is kind of your home turf. Alright, so you round the corner. Cool. So it broke line of sight, broke line of fire. These buildings broke line of sight and broke line of fire. So let's play around with this a little bit. Blockade is over here. Move him here. No line of sight. Move him here. No line of sight. Move him here. Still no line of sight. Here. Nope. Here. Then we get line of sight. So, line of sight, line of fire. Apparently we need to differentiate between the two now because of reasons. How about this? So we know... Let's back off of blockade. Let's go to showboat.
Waiting for orders.
We clearly have a line of sight and line of fire from there because we're standing next to each other. Let's break that.
Coordinates received.
Alright. We have broken line of fire and line of sight. Let's see where we have to go to re-establish line of fire and line of sight using blockade. So if we go... We've already established no line of fire, no line of fire. There's a line of fire. There's a line of fire. There is not a line of fire there. Is there a line of sight?
Copy that.
There is not a line of sight. It's real close. The corner of this building is preventing the line of sight. Okay. There's some science. This is good.
Reading you.
Mockingbird. Ooh. So this is interesting. If I move here, there is an obstruction. There's an obstruction somewhere here. That looks like a very phantom obstruction because there's no obvious terrain between this spot and the urban mech. I wonder if we go up. Let's go up. Go up here. So here, if we land on the building here, there's an obstruction to the line of sight here somewhere.
Engaging
Let's see.
jump jets.
Let's just see what that looks like. With your one-legged jumping mech. So it kind of looks like perhaps the building might be causing an obstruction there. Because it doesn't really look like there's anything else. Yeah, it's got to be the corner of either this building or this building is causing an obstruction. Which is interesting. So the line of fire modeling versus the graphical models of the buildings is a little bit imprecise. I don't know if imprecise is exactly the right word, but it's at least as far as this beta is concerned, where things may not be completely cooked. There are some places, some corners of the game where things are not exactly working the way you would think. So I've already used half my team, and I think we've established... What have we established here? So the buildings block line of sight, for the most part, and line of fire, definitely. The buildings can be stood on, sorry. You cannot walk through them, although you can walk on top of them if they're short enough. And otherwise, we don't really have a good sense of interaction. I mean, can't really fire at them. At least not that I'm aware. No. So, dear friend Urban Mech, I believe we have learned as much as we are going to learn with your assistance today.
Show 'em what you got.
Ooh, he's got evasion, though. This may be a waste. We thank you for your service, sir. Now we must remove you from the battlefield.
Watch my feet.
Alright, Apex, please do us
Moving to position.
the honor of getting behind this Urban Mech and ruining his day. We will put you to rest in the place where you love, the middle of the city, where Urban Mechs roam. Some good dodges. Alright, he's not going down without a fight. He's down to jump jet now, so that's going to be a problem for him. Meanwhile, his friends back there are going to just keep flinging indirect missiles.
Getting banged up real good.
Alright.
Aye, aye. Targeting for an alpha strike.
Farewell, good Irby. You have proved useful in the endeavors of science, but your time here has passed. Alright, now, let's set ourselves up to murder the hell out of its moronic buddies. Oh, can I just walk off of this? That's interesting. I was able to jump. I had to jump to get on top, but now it looks like I can just run right off the building in some very interesting pathing patterns. Is she actually going to try and clear the gap to that other building? Alright, a little bit of science left to learn here. Let's see what happens.
Location confirmed.
Yeah. So that's some interesting pathing. Alright. Hunker down there for now. And let's get the rest of the team to position. Alright, so if I'm going to eventually want to shoot the guys here in the face, I need to be right along the edge of this. Right along the edge of the plateau here. So I'm just going to move. So the question is, if I get close, are they going to be smart enough to know, you know, like back up and actually shoot at me? Or jump jet at me? I'm going to hazard the guess, given how they've behaved so far, that they are not going to be that smart. But I am going to give myself a little bit of buffer. Just a little bit of cushion.
Right, Commander.
Keep all the lines of vision and fire off of me, because they would have to back up quite a bit.
Reading you.
Alright, can't sprint, that's fine. Got plenty of movement. Move to here. Want to try and get everybody in position before I enact Operation Move to Edge Stabbity Stab Stab. Come on, Mockingbird. I know you're missing a leg, but this shouldn't take all day.
Yeah,
Hunker down.
copy that.
Here we go. Alright, let's move you. There's a... So another reason why perhaps we don't fight over the very edges of the map. I don't see a forest there, do you? Because the game thinks there was one, which is real interesting. So if I move over here, yeah, that should still be okay. We'll move over here.
Here we go.
Hustle your buns. Also bleed some heat. Oh. Yeah. It's all good. Hey, showboat.
Waiting for orders.
Hang out.
Resting my mech.
Oh, hello. I found a line of sight. That's not good. That is...
They're blowing through my armor.
You know what? Apex, it's... Oh, sure. Sure. Now you figure out how to use your jump jets?
Armor breach.
Oh.
Internal damage.
This enemy AI. This enemy AI. Alright, well. How are you guarded after a jump jet death from above attack? You slimy bastard. Alright. It is officially time to give these guys the friggin' shank.
Yes, Commander.
Alright, so where can we move? I think we may end up just plowing. Okay, so we're gonna... If I want rear arc on this guy... Because we're gonna rear arc the hell out of these guys. I'm actually curious. If I
I'm here.
go to blockade, does blockade have enough... Blockade has enough movement to get behind this Shadow Hawk with reasonably good chances to hit. You know what? I'm going to take that. Quick draw.
Copy that. Nice. Got past his armor.
Okay.
Reading you.
Mockingbird can get to here and get in the Griffin's rear arc. Her poor one-legged Jenner. Ooh boy, those 2-hit numbers are not great.
All weapons on.
That's fine.
go.
Lasers hit, which is the important thing. Most of it on the CT, which is what you like to see.
Reporting critical hit.
Yep. Okay.
Standing by.
Apex.
Good to go.
Let's go to Showboat instead. Showboat can get to here, turn, get line of fire. What kind of numbers we're dealing with? 60s. We're going to throw inspiration on that.
Affirmative.
Because I would love beyond all love
We can do this. Let's go.
to just murder this guy for his impudence. There we go.
Mech destroyed.
See, you shouldn't have left your urban mech friend out to hang, duder. You deserve
Awaiting
that.
orders.
Alright, so let's move. Let's see, what do we want to do? I kind of want to keep them encircled so they have to make bad choices as to which direction they face. And then I can... Actually, kind of curious where I'm still getting line of sight on all this stuff from. That's fine. Whatever. Not going to worry about that now. Yeah, buddy. Oh, and unsteady. Wow, they suddenly very aggressive once they know they've got a target to jump at. So there's something about the AI apparently they have not figured out. They can use their jump shots for mobility, but they can use them for murdering dudes. I appreciate that they know how to murder dudes with them, but they're really supposed to use them for mobility too when you can. Alright, so
Yes, Commander.
let's get with the remainder of this murdering. How...
Standing by.
I want Apex. Apex still has some good. She's got some good going on. Let's see, get here.
Moving to position.
This is right side, not rear. That's fine. I intend to chew the crap out of these guys. Also, it's rear arc on the Shadowhawk, which is also taking damage, so... Right arc, rear arc. Let's see what we get. That was kind of uninspiring.
Target's taking a critical hit.
Blockade, can you please finish this guy off for the sake of science?
Position confirmed.
You know, we've gotten our discoveries. We need to take the science home with us now. Those numbers aren't great, but that's fine. This is pure rear arc. There we go. Bye-bye. Poor, pathetic mech warriors. Alright.
Reading you.
Right side. Left side. Can't really get a good arc. This guy was smart. He left his back to the gorge behind him, so I can't necessarily shank him. Overheat warning. Yeah, a little bit of overheat isn't going to hurt. Open up that leg, which is kind of a...
My heat gauge is getting pretty high.
There we go. That's the backside we like to see. And actually decent numbers, decent 2-hit numbers for Showboat. Showboat continuing to show promise. We're generating some kind of garbage. Although she didn't even open a single panel. Got knocked down though. Alright. He'll stand back up and do something probably completely heinous to one of my mechs. I'm willing to put money on a punch. That is definitely not going to be a punch. Yeah, I think that makes more sense. Throw all the rockets. Throw all the missiles.
I'm taking internal damage.
Hey. Come on now.
I'm here.
Come on now. Keep it together. We're almost done.
Ooh, spotted.
Sneak right in there. Get in behind this quick draw. Whew, boy. Gonna take a shutdown. But I think we take it because, let's face it, this match is pretty much over. This match is now over. Welcome to Scrap Town. Alright, so, what have we learned today? We learned buildings exist. Now, we learned that yesterday. We learned that buildings mostly function the way you think. They break lines of fire. They break lines of sight. Unless the line of sight, unless you can, you know, like get just a crease through between some buildings, and then you can get some lines of sight without the lines of fire, which is a very interesting observation that we learned today. We can stand on them. We can walk up on top of them if they're short enough. We can walk down off of them in a very peculiar manner. I think that checks all the boxes for buildings. So it makes me a little sad, like I said earlier, that this big, relatively, like industrial complex is not in the middle of some of the maps to actually fight over. And yes, I know not Geneva conventions, Ares conventions, I think it was. We don't fight in industrialized facilities. Third Succession War. Second Succession War. I guess it was more prevalent in the First and Second Succession Wars, where they blew up most of the industrial complexes. Third Succession War, we're kind of scrapping over what's left and probably want to keep this industrial sector good, whole, so we can capture it and use it, because there aren't many left. But yeah, so I think we've learned what we can about these buildings. They exist. They, for the most part, function the way you expect, and minus some weird display issues at first, where they have jump jets and bad heating and air conditioning situation. There they are. Buildings. Expect them in the final product. As far as the fight goes, hey, you know, we baited an Irby, and then we blew it up, and then we baited its friends, and then we blew them up. So nothing particularly exciting about the fight, which, you know, these numbers do not necessarily reflect what a fight like this would probably be. I really wish that I had gotten the rest of the enemy lance into the town to kind of, you know, get an actual, you know, urban melee going. But we'll take what we can get. We've learned some things about how the way the buildings work so far. So this is good. This is valuable. And this is all for today. I am Captain Nips. This has been your BattleTech in the morning. And I will see you in the next video tomorrow.